So, I am fully aware that I am about late as fuck in regard to the whole conversation about the show Baby Reindeer. However, in my defense, I willfully didn't watch this show. My cousin literally just shoved her phone to my face and said, "You're gonna watch this show that's viral and everybody and their damn dog is talking about it. You need to report on it." And I'm like, "What the fuck? Baby Reindeer, this show better be about fucking reindeers." And I know, disappointing, it wasn't. But I was traumatized. I was emotional. I was brought into this universe that I didn't have any idea about, but I had some thoughts and opinions, and we're gonna talk about it, okay? Okay. What is up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of the Unhinged Diaries podcast. Honestly, y'all, I need to give y'all like an immediate warning, an immediate disclaimer of the fact that thank you, by the way, to anyone who watched or listened to my recent podcast episode and left their comments or likes. But I received one comment where somebody was like, "Oh my god, like get to the fucking point already. I had to skip all the way through just to get to the actual topic of the video." Bitch, this is my podcast. Last time I checked, this is the Ali Carza Unhinged Diaries podcast. If I want to talk to you guys about the color of my shit for 20 minutes, I will do as I please. I'm like, girl, what? Like, I am talking to you about the positive thing that happened to me this week and then the negative. And I'm hoping as you're listening or watching, you're telling me the positive thing that happened to you this week or the negative. Like, this is our moment of interaction. This is our moment of like, hey, girly, I haven't seen you since last week. I'm gonna tell you what happened. Like, that's our intimate moment. If you're not interested, ouch. But you know what? I appreciate you sticking around regardless. I leave timestamps on the screen, okay? This is my only time addressing this or whatever the case may be, okay? Because I felt some type of way. I'm like, you're basically telling me to shut up. No, I will not, okay? As your only warning, I will not, okay? I will rant. This is my talk show. This is my space to not shut the fuck up for however long as I please. And I appreciate the people that stick around, but ouch to the people that say that they don't want to hear it, okay? Okay, so with all that being said, if you're watching the video version, you're probably like, why the fuck does this girl look like Flappy Bird? Why does she look like Daffy Duck? Why does she look like the motherfucker from Monsters, Inc? And I got my lips done. I had half of a syringe last time. I don't know if it was last time you guys saw me, probably. I think I was bruising and healed up already, but today, like literally, I'm swollen right now, and I officially have a full syringe. So there's that. And I don't know anyone out there who like is watching or listening. They get lip filler. You know that when your lips are swollen, like they look slay. Like literally right now, I'm like, please just like remain this way. But I know it's not because it is swollen. And it's funny when my girl who would like talk to me about like, you know, doing my lips or whatever, she's like, literally people complain all the time. Like, can you please do my lips the way that they were swollen the first time you did them? Like, that's usually the thing. Like, they just look slay when they're swollen. And I'm like, because then that's how they get you. You're gonna just want to come back for more. You're gonna keep wanting more because you're like, I want to look like I did when they were swollen, and it's just a never-ending game. So I'm interested to see how they're gonna look when they swell down, because I'm like, dang, these girlies, and it's just one syringe. I'm like, ooh wee. But yeah, there's that. I would say that's the positive thing that happened to me this week. And then the negative, bitch, like, oh my god, like the struggle is real. Like, I think I had to go on a low carb diet now, because for those who've been watching me or listening to me for a while now, you know that I was on a keto diet and I loved it. Like, I loved it in a sense where like my body looked so nice and I just like looked like I was truly taking care of myself, and mentally it did help me a lot. Like, I love the idea of the discipline aspect of it and like the dopamine I got from when I really started seeing the results, you know? Like, we live in a world where it's like quick gratification, like immediate gratification, where it's like, oh, let me get this and this and this done and I'll be fine. Where in actuality, it's like, yo, I worked hard. I went to the gym every day. I was eating right. And I saw it to really pay off. And I was like, wow, like that felt really, really nice. But I miss my pizza. I miss my bun, okay? But now it's like giving big back, big back. It's very much giving big back. And I'm like, oh my God, like I can't have the best of both worlds. Like, I can't look amazing and just eat the way that I want. Those genetics weren't given to me, unfortunately. So now I'm like, dang, like I gotta make a decision. Do I really want to just accept my fate of being a big bag, or like just have that discipline journey again of eating right, like, because I do love that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not punishing myself just to look a certain kind of way. I do love it, but at the same time, I like my pizza. Like, I like my pizza. Like, I like my bread with some Nutella. Like, I miss my carbs. Okay, I miss eating the way that I want to. But at the same time, it's like I do love that discipline aspect of, like, when I'll have my cheat meals or my cheat day or like whatever, it'll feel so much more rewarding because it's like, okay, I deserve this, you know? I worked hard towards it. I'm goal oriented, and then I treat myself a little, and it feels better compared to me just eating pizza for a whole week. It's like, okay, bitch, damn, you know? So there's that. So yeah, like, I'm happy to say that this week wasn't a bad week. It was just that realization of, like, dang, like, now I'm gonna have to relearn, like, this diet again and learn how to cook meals, because that's like the worst part about having a diet. It's like trying to consistently find new meals to make, because then you end up eating the same thing over and over again. So that's the only thing that truly does suck. But then again, I'm just like, do I want to be a big back, or do I really want to, like, look like I really do take care of myself and love that discipline and working towards something, you know? Because it does something really well for my mental health when I have something to focus on that's so beneficial to my health and stuff like that, you know? So there's that. Honestly, for other people that are complaining, now you can complain. We're only 5 minutes in, and I don't feel like I rambled that much. So we're finally officially gonna get to the topic of today's episode, which is going to be about baby reindeer, of course. But I want to talk about the bigger topic at hand, which is how there's no such thing as the perfect victim. So if you want to know all my thoughts on that, then keep on listening or watching. So I'm sorry to inform you that this show was not about reindeers. And trust me, I was disappointed. I got into the show with no context, nothing. I was just like, the only thing I guess my cousin said to me was this was all based on a true story. And the person who experienced everything is the actor, which is Richard God playing Donnie Dom. And this show basically is based on this man dealing with an intense stalker. Like, when I tell you intense, this girl's crazy. Her name is Martha in the show, but she's played by Jessica Gunning. Her acting skills, girl, I'm like, were you a stalker in your past life? Because damn, like, she had me like, girl, I'm spooked. Like, what? It was insane. The whole premise of the show is you get annoyed by Donnie. Like, you get so annoyed by him because you're like, the fuck? Like, this woman is stalking you. Report it. Tell someone. Like, take further action. Like, you start getting so frustrated. Like, I remember, like, literally the first episode, me watching it with my cousin beside me. I'm, like, cursing at my phone. Like, this motherfucker is stupid. Like, I'm so mad. Like, why are you making me watch this? Like, I could literally be doing something more useful with my time. Like, why am I watching this? And she's like, Allie, keep going. This is up your alley. See what I did there? But she's like, this is up your alley. Like, you're going to fuck with this show. And I'm like, ugh, because I do see it's trending on Netflix. So let me just keep watching. So yeah, this guy, he's an inspiring comedian, and you could tell he does struggle a little bit with his self-esteem, but in the beginning it's just like you still don't have a lot of context. You're like, okay, this guy's a struggling comedian, whatever, and he works as a bartender at a pub, and this girl is like feeding him so much attention, so much compliments, and he made one little joke that had her thinking, oh my God, I got a chance. This man likes me. And she went full on stalker mode. And you can, like, a part of me is like, okay, like, this motherfucker is stupid because, like, how low does your confidence have to be to keep, like, allowing this girl being so weird and clearly overstepping every boundary possible? But that's the thing. That's when we get to that episode 4, which was very, very spooky, where we start getting a deeper understanding of his background, of what he experienced a couple months prior. And as we all know, he's a struggling comedian. Let's call it for what it is. I really went through this big rabbit hole trying to look for every single thing in regards to his comedy, and I don't think it was that bad. The show over dramatized it. Like, when you're watching the show, comedy and everything, his skits were so cringe. I'm like, it was just so bad. But what was very interesting about this show is there is this writer from one of his favorite shows that ended up seeing one of his acts and saw potential in him and told him, yo, I could help you write out your script, like your scripts, or basically help you with your comedy and really help you get to where you want to be. Of course, someone with a dream, and that's the thing about creatives. Let's get into the conversation about creatives. So this is me speaking of the aspect where I'm a creative, where it's like we're always chasing a feeling that feels like that can never be filled, where you're always just like, you just want to be better. You always just want to keep like playing, like when you're expressing your art, your brain is just constantly going so much. Like I feel like if you get it, you get it. And it's really almost like we have like such a deep desire to share our art in any form that it can be. And anybody can relate to this, but like you just want someone to believe in your art, something that you're so passionate about, like the vision that you see about your art, you want someone to see it, even if it's one person or obviously fans, like a group of people, you know. And why in Hollywood specifically people get taken advantage of so much is because there's just people with dreams. They are so naive on trusting someone who's going to believe in them, who's going to guide them, especially when someone's like, I'm going to mentor you, I'm going to help you become the best version of yourself. And like that little passion or dream that you have, I'm going to help you master it so well that like you can just be the best you can be. You hearing that, and then you're like, you know, this little creative, of course that's music to your ears. And in this case, that's exactly what happened to Donnie. This writer, already that power imbalance where it's like, oh my god, this person I respect so much, I respect his work, he wants to help me get better at what I do. And it's like you see them build this bond of them going out and having fun and like, you know, helping him improve his, you know, his comedy. And then it got to a point where you can tell he started really taking advantage of Donnie. He's like, oh, I want you to like start using all these drugs so it can help you get into that like creative space that you need to be in for when it comes to all of this. And then it's like you see it become a gradual thing building up. And it got to a point where they were showing little hints of like him being very inappropriate to Donnie. It even got to a point where he was like, you can see Donnie literally say, I feel like there was like he'll have his like little blackout moments where he's in and out, and it'll be like, I feel like his saliva is in certain parts of my areas that should not be at. And then it just started progressing and progressing because he kept coming back because he felt like he could help him. And of course, like, we see the bond that he has with this man where he's so infatuated with him. Like in the show, I don't know how it is in his personal life, like the actual character Richard, but in the show, we don't see him hanging out with a group of friends and stuff like that. We just saw him with this person. So can you imagine this person that you already respect and adore so much, and then you're having so much fun with this person, like, you know, with scripting, like having a good time. Like, of course, like you can sense that like there's toxicity in your dynamic, but of course you're gonna keep coming back. Like I can understand that aspect, you know. So you see him go back to him, and then it got to the point where he full on like when he was taking like I think it was an acid trip for the first time, he was like, my body's literally telling me this man is dangerous and you need to abort mission, like you need to go. And that was unfortunately where we end up witnessing him being great. And when I tell you the way that this show, the way that it portrayed how realistic it is when someone gets SA'd, because that's the thing when it comes to things you see on TV, things you see in the news or movies, whatever, when you see someone get violated in that way, you see them just say fuck you, or I'm ending whatever this is, whether it was a friendship, whatever it was, like I am done. But in the show you literally see him go back to him until they eventually just cut contact with each other altogether. What made it even more realistic was the fact that like he was sitting there and he was like, I just started self-destructing. Like I started self-destructing where I started hooking up with everyone. He's like, I was literally almost like punishing myself for this, because when it comes to being SA, the number one feeling you will experience is shame. And that's the thing that he did, like Richard God did so well when it came to the show, was implementing and letting us, like, it's like almost like you could feel his energy through the damn fucking screen. Like you can just feel his shame. He started hooking up with people. There was this transgender woman that he was in love with, Terry, played by Nava Mao. And this is a girl that he ended up being with that he loved so much, but he literally said he could not allow himself to love her. Because it's like, there was so much he started experiencing when that happened. You experience obviously the shame and the blaming yourself, and of course questioning your sexuality, because that was a man that took advantage of him. And it's like the way that like I truly could resonate with this character. Like, it's like I said, there's no such thing as the perfect victim. Because then we could start to really understand why he was allowing all that stalking to happen. Because it's almost like his masculinity was taken away from him. His confidence was already like, it's so like, it really does beat the fuck down on your confidence when you are creative and you just are trying to make it. You just want people to believe in you, because I could just sense he didn't believe in himself enough. And it's like, when you find that person, when you feel like they believed in you and they took advantage of you, I cannot even imagine what that did to his confidence. So of course he did a lot of things that matched how he felt about himself. He started engaging into like crazy and dangerous sex, like didn't like care about the repercussions or being safe, and just was making a lot of poor decisions. Like the way that they implemented his self-destruction was so like spot on, like truly. And then just seeing how toxic that dynamic started really getting with that stalker, he kept saying he just felt bad for her. It got to a point where that woman started harassing his damn family. It got so extreme. And then you're just sitting there like, he goes on to report it, and even the police was like, so how long has this been going for? He says 6 months, and they're looking at him like, why the fuck did it take you 6 months to report this? And it's like, you can truly see, like, even that woman he was with, Terry, was like, you like this, because she was a therapist in, like, you know, in the show, and you could tell she was like the mediator. She was like the voice of reason in the show, and she would like give him advice on everything, because he did tell her about like the stalker, and she's like, I think in a way you like it, you like the attention. I don't think she even knew what happened to him, obviously, but it's like, of course he ended up liking it. Why did he like this attention? Because can you imagine just like going through all this trauma, you haven't like addressed it head on, you're literally just going through the motions of trying to understand it and unwrap all of that comes with SA. Like, that's something that could be a whole video within itself. Like, all the things you need to unwrap when it become like when you go through SA. And when it comes to him, it's like he finds that distraction in Marta. Like, he finds a distraction in her, because it's like, when the show first starts, she's just a woman that like she goes into the pub, like, and she's sitting there looking sad as ever, and then he offers her a tea, and that's how like everything started. But it's like, the show really heavily in the beginning, you could tell she was the one that was fucked up. Like, we can see her misery, and she was battling demons, and I think for him, that's what he liked. Like, I feel like he was intrigued by the fact that she was so persistent on him, for one, because that is an ego stroke. Like, she always complimented him. She was always blowing up his emails and stuff like that. So there's that's like a confidence booster of like, oh, this woman like is interested in me, so that must mean that I mean something, you know? There's that aspect. And then two, it's like the aspect of like, wow, like me focusing on her and her being this sad, unwell person gets to like, what that means is I don't have to focus on my shit. So that's a distraction. I could focus on her, because that means I don't have to focus on me and what just happened to me and having to address that. Because like I said, when it comes to SA, like, the shame is the worst thing you're going to have to face when it comes to that. Because it's a shame it's not even yours. Like, you don't even deserve that. And it's a shame that you have to just unfairly face. And for him, and the magnitude of how that happened to him, it's so much that goes into that. It's the blaming of him being like, well, I kept going back. There was like that deep monologue. Anyone who watched the show, you know that monologue that literally had me, bitch. Mocos were coming out of my fucking nose, bitch. Like, eyelash was hanging on by the damn thread. Like, he was sitting there like, I kept going. Like, he was just trauma dumping, because I don't believe that he told anyone whatsoever that happened to him. And there was one day he was up on stage doing his regular thing, and he was just fed the fuck up. And he just went on and trauma dumped and talked about everything that happened to him. And he was like, when he said this, my body has chills. And every time I think about it, I'm like, wow. I'm like, anyone can relate to that sentence. When he was like, how low does your self respect have to be to keep going back? And when he said that, it's almost like I said, there's no such thing as the perfect victim. The perfect victim in society's eyes would be like, oh, well, with the stalker, he should have reported it. Or with the whole SA, like, he shouldn't have been coming back. Like, he kept going back. Like, there's a lot of people that even in worst case scenarios that develop Stockholm syndrome. But it's like, a victim is a victim. Even if you even want to go to that aspect of Marta, she's a victim as well. Of course, she ain't shit for what she did. Like, you can be a victim, but also become the problem, become the predator, like the issue, you know? Like, of course, that's very much, two things could be true at once. But, like, I feel like the thing that disgusted me, bitch, the thing that disgusted me, you could literally see my whole dynamic starting to change. The shit that made me disgusted is there became this whole topic of discussion on TikTok where people are like, maturing is realizing that Donnie was not a victim. Maturing, realizing that he was the problem. Don't even get me started on the people that like really had the, like, y'all are bold. Y'all never been slapped a day in your life. And bitch, I participate, like, I volunteer as tribute. That really became a topic of discussion of, sure, God basically said in real life that I believe he said that it was like one time that he was actually essayed by this man. Whereas in the show, it was multiple instances. So people were just like, oh my God, what is true? Bitch, like, that shit had me so like, when I tell you, I'm like, y'all never been slapped a day. You lucky you're just a faceless person behind an account. Because what the how the fuck could you even form what? Like, that is so insane to me. Like, y'all really trying to sit there and try to get down to the specifics, trying to discredit. Like, excuse me? Pardon me? Like, how the fuck? What? Like, that just blew my mind. Like, bitch, point blank, point period, this man was taken advantage of. And like I said, he obviously played a huge role of being the problem. He's still the fucking victim of being, I say, like, bitch, like, when I tell you some of y'all need to be slapped, and I come here, I will do it. Because I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, yo, people are bold. You've never been slapped. You've never have. That's the whole point of the show. It gets you, and it's literally a roller coaster, because in the beginning you're mad at this man. You're like, this man is so fucking dumb. Like, why are you like giving this stalker the time of day? Like, she's getting worse and worse because you're contributing to that behavior. And then you see why he did that, because he was taken advantage of and he didn't know how to process that. So, and I feel like the main point of that is the fact that, like, have you, anyone watching or listening, have you ever been in a point of your life where you were in such a dark place and you just, like, don't make rational decisions? I'm sure anyone can relate to that. And especially if, speaking from someone who was essayed, like, for me, everything that, like, happened in that show, I can resonate deeply, like, deeply. When I was essayed, the person who essayed me, it was even worse because it was a family member. And the fact that it was a family member, I had, like, everyone gaslighting me and telling me that it didn't happen and that I want attention, that it did not happen. So literally years had gone by and I was just cool with this person because I really had convinced myself that nothing happened. And there was parts of me, like my body, like, your body will communicate with you. People don't really realize how powerful your body really is. Because my body would tell me, I don't fuck with this. But in my head, I gaslight myself, like, nothing happened. Like, bitch, you're being dramatic. Like, you want attention. You want drama. And then it's like, there's that. And then there's that realization of, holy fuck, I was taken advantage of. And then that, holy fuck, I was taken advantage of. You start to have that literal statement that he said, how low does my self-respect really have to be for me to keep going back? Because in a lot of cases, and that's the thing that really disgusted me, and a lot of people, like, talking all this shit about, like, the character, it's like, we've all been in a place where we kept going back. It can even be as simple as our relationship. It doesn't even have to be in a conversation of SA. We've all been in a place before where we kept coming back and we knew it was not good. We knew we were even being abused. We've all been there, done that, you know? So there's that conversation. And then him talking about the self-destruction of being essayed, when I tell you that was something that like I literally was crying, like I'm trying not to cry right now, because when I would speak to people that experience essay, they would tell me their main, like everyone gets affected by that differently. Like, can we talk about that? Like, people either become very hypersexual or just not really wanting to engage in sex at all. And I think the people that become hypersexual treat the worst. Truly. Because then people are looking at you like, well, you asked for it. Like, you're like this and this and this and that. You must have asked for it when they discover what happened to you. And it's like, the self-destruction of, it's almost like in therapy, my therapist would tell me that it's like you want to regain control of what happened to you. You want control. And then him saying that like he was literally engaging into sexual behavior where it was almost like awful and dangerous, and he's like, I didn't care. It's almost like I was literally punishing myself. I've been there. Literally, like if you were to engage in my beginning of my podcast, like hence why it's called the Unhinged Diaries. And when I first started this, I was literally in a state in my life where I was just very hypersexual. I was just very much like, I don't give a fuck about myself sexually. Like I would not give a fuck, because I'm like, well, if this was done to me, like it's really fucked up mindset ahead, but maybe someone can like relate or understand, where it's like that mindset of like, oh well, if this person did it to me and they didn't respect my body, why should I? Like, it's a really fucked up mindset to have, unless you've been there and you get where I'm coming from. That's what my mindset was for a really long time, and it's unfortunate, but I loved how real this show was, where it really showed you the ugly side of being essay, the ugly side of trauma, of like how you could hurt people around too, like Terry. Like, I'm sure anyone who's experienced SA or anything traumatic and they've been in a time of their lives where they couldn't love or be a friend to someone at that time of their lives because they just couldn't. They weren't capable. And I think that was his unfortunate downfall in this scenario, where it's like, I really love this woman. She's perfect. She's immaculate, but I cannot give her that because I don't know how to. And that's like the other ugly side of it all. And I guess in conclusion, to wrap all this up, is the fact that like there's no such thing as like the perfect victim, where like even in scenarios where a girl, people would be like, oh, what was she wearing, or oh, like this girl, she did bad things and then something happened to her. Like I feel like in life there would just never be a perfect victim, but it doesn't make them less of a victim. And I feel like that should be something that's talked about more, because that's the thing that really disgusted me, and what really inspired this video or episode is the fact that like that was a whole like there were so many comments getting so many likes and people being like, oh, he wasn't a victim, like he was just he was enabling the stalker. I don't know, that shit really ruffled my motherfucking feathers. I don't know, but I really, really loved this show, and I probably will watch it a million times. I'd recommend it to anyone out there, but like it was triggering as fuck, not knowing that there was that as the, anyone for like, I don't know about y'all, but when I watched this show, it was like a flashback to when I first saw the movie I'll Spit on Your Grave, because I watched that movie with no context, and anyone who watched that movie, if you were considering watching this movie, essay, that's all I'm gonna say. Like brutal, awful, like longer than it ever needed to be essay. And I watched that movie with no context, and that was traumatizing. And I felt that again watching this show. Like I watched the show with no context and not understanding the fact that there was essay in it, and I literally wanted to pull my hair. I'm like, ah! Like I was like, what the fuck? I literally texted my cousin like, you bitch, you should have gave me a warning. She's like, you probably wouldn't have watched it. I'm like, you're right, but damn, like it was such a good fucking show. So I really do thank my cousin shoving her phone to my face and wanting me to even talk about this, because of course I'm very open to you guys about like the experiences I've gone through, and it's just like such a beautiful show, like just the message behind it as well, where it's like, wow, like the reality of trauma, because people think you go through something traumatic and that like, I don't know, there's that other big conversation of like when you go through trauma, how, like I said, you are not rational. You don't make rational decisions. You're not clear-minded. And that was the whole basis of the show. He was just not clear-minded. And him even going back and back to even at the end of the show, he went back to this person. Like, it's like stuff like that. But that's things that are never talked about. It truly is. And I'm just like so thankful for Richard God for even telling us his story or even reenacting all of that. Because I can't even imagine how hard that was. And I truly just appreciated how much how much courage that was having to portray the ugly side of SA, because I feel like that's something that's not talked about. I could make a whole episode about, because it's something that like I used to hold a lot of shame about. Well, a family member of mine, like, she experienced SA, and I feel like I would receive a lot of judgment from her. Of course, not to blame her for that, because she doesn't understand why I process everything the way that I did. But for her, she was very closed off, like I didn't want to have sex or whatever. And then me, I was a wild card. Like, I hooked up with everyone. I was just like doing a lot of awful, like, crazy things. And then for me, I held a lot of shame for, like, it was something I had to unwrap in therapy. Because I'm like, why do I do this to myself? Because I don't feel better afterwards. That's the weird thing about SA. That's something I think that Richard God did so well. That's what I feel like, Richard did so well in this show, is how much you're willing to go to, like, run away from that shame and disgust and the awful feelings you experience from SA. But none of that ever helps. It doesn't. All the crazy things I literally did to escape the feelings of what I experienced when I went through my SA, it was like, it does not make you feel better. That's something I literally had to unwrap in therapy. Like, why the fuck do I keep hooking up with all these people, trying to numb, like, the pain or try to gain power or control over something that happened years ago? And it's like, why do I keep doing this knowing that it doesn't make me feel good? Like, I get the same outcome every time. And why the fuck do I keep doing it, though? Why do I keep going back? You know? And that's something that I feel like isn't ever talked about enough. And I appreciate that so much, that he emphasized his self-destruction in the show when it came to that incident, you know? So I love this show so much. But anyone who watched that show, definitely comment down below your thoughts and opinions, or even other perspectives I may have missed from this show. I would love to hear in the comment section down below. But that is everything for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. For anyone out there who's like, bitch, I don't know if they are, but bitch, if you're like, oh my god, we want to get back to the Dark Side of Pretty Privilege series, I will be back. There's just so many videos I've been excited to make. Like, I literally was supposed to make today's episode about, since Perfect Match season 2 came out, I was going to talk about, it does correlate a little bit with the Pretty Privilege, but I did really want to talk about the Pretty Privilege, the Dark Side of Pretty Privilege with Kylie Jenner and that whole entire conversation. But bitch, so many things have been happening, so many video ideas has been coming up, and I'm really excited about it. So definitely, if you're watching this on the podcast YouTube channel, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Click that subscribe button down below, because I do have a lot more episodes are coming out. I've been consistent. Your girl is back. And if you are listening to this on Spotify, make sure to give it a 5-star rating, because bitch, rent is due, okay? Rent is due. And I just appreciate anyone who subscribes to this YouTube channel or comments down below and just engages with my episodes. It's very much appreciated, and I love you guys so much, and I cannot wait to see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.